All right, so to begin with, I want you to take notes on this, write down these three forms of a line, and I'm going to show you some examples. So this one, for instance, would be like 3x plus 4y equals 5. That's a typical equation. What's special about it is that the x and the y are in order. First the x, then the y, and this is always just a number. It can't have a variable on it. That's a special form called standard form. We use that for certain things in math. This one you used a lot. How many of you are really familiar with that one? And that's almost every hand. Good. That one is a really common one called slope-intercept. It's got the slope right here. It's got the y-intercept right there. And that typical one might look like this. Y equals 3x plus 7. And you got your slope of 3 and your y-intercept 7. Okay, the last kind, this point slope kind, if you don't know this one, get to know it, because from my experience this year, we're going to use y-intercept, the slope-intercept kind, and the point slope kind almost equally. You're going to have to know both of them a lot. And then as you move to pre-calc, this one starts to fade into the distance. And in pre-calc, you're going to use this a lot. Okay, gets to be more and more important. So what is it? Let's talk about this one. Let's show you an example. Y minus 3 equals 4 times x minus 2. And what does that tell me? That tells me m. Ooh, does it look familiar? Yes, same exact m. So this must be the what? The slope. The slope is 4. And the y-intercept doesn't exist here. That's one time where you need to learn a new way to find the y-intercept. It's not just the number at the end. The y-intercept here is not the negative 2. The y-intercept is where, this is really important, memorize it. The y-intercept is where x is 0. Write that down. It was important enough, in fact, to put a star by it on the side of your notes. The y-intercept is where x equals 0. So that means if I want the y-intercept of this puppy, the y-intercept of this thing is where x is 0. Well, where should I put the 0? Where the x is. Where x is 0. So put a 0 right there, and I'd have negative 2. What's 4 times the negative 2? Negative 8. So it's saying y minus 3 equals negative 8. How does that telling me the y-intercept? We'll just solve it the rest of the way. Add 3 to both sides. Y equals plus 3, negative 5. That would be the y-intercept of that graph. Y-intercepts are huge. They're really, really, really important. You're going to find out why later in the year. It becomes a really big deal. All right, so point slope form looks like this blue equation, and it's got a point and a slope. I've already talked about where the slope is, and the slope was the 4. So where's the point? These two numbers give you the point. And if there's negatives in there, that's normal. See, look, that comes with the equation. They come with negatives. And so that point, this is the x of it, this is the y of it. The point would be 2, 3. And the slope is 4. Get that? All right, so I'm going to give you another one. Y minus 5 equals 7 times x plus 2. What's slope? 7. What's the y-intercept? The y-intercept is where what? X equals 0. So I stick in a 0 right here. Figure it out in your head quick. Don't say it. Figure it out in your head. Raise your hand if you got it. What is it? Nope, but you're close. Okay, if I'm sticking in a 0 here, do you get how I'm going to go? 0 plus 2 is 2, and 7 times 2 makes what? 14. So I got y minus 5 equals 14. Now what do I do? Add 5 to both sides. Final answer? Y equals 19. I think you subtracted 5, didn't you? It's okay. In this class, you will find me making lots of mistakes, and it's totally okay. It's okay. That's why when you take a test out of 100 points, you can get like 5 of them wrong and still have a 95%, and that's still a straight A. Okay, so you're going to see me do lots of problems, and occasionally you see me make a mistake. Haven't yet, but you'll see it, and don't feel bad about it. So if you make a mistake, I am never going to be like, oh, wow, that's really awful. Can't believe you did that. It's going to happen all the time. Totally okay. Rather have you take a shot at it and miss than to not even swing. All right, so then I've got the slope, the y-intercept. The y-intercept was x was 0. And the last thing is I can get a point out of this. Would you please write down what point you think this equation has buried in it? And I know some of you are going to mess up the negativeness. What is the point? This equation has a slope of 7, and it goes through this point. Yes, sir? It says -2, 5, and he's right. He knew that since that is not a negative, and the normal form of the line has a negative there, he knew he had to change that to be a -2, and this was a normal 5. Yes? Raise your hand if you knew the same thing. Okay, good. That is point-slope form. So when they give you an equation like y not equals, sorry, that would be the easy kind you're used to, y minus 5 equals 21, x plus 0. Wait a minute. Can you do that? Yes. What's the slope? 21. And what's the, this will be easy, what's the y-intercept? The y-intercept is where what? X equals 0. Put a 0 here. What's that become? What's 21 times 0? So it's really y minus 5 equals 0. So what's the y-intercept? Y equals 5. All right. And then the last thing is there's a slope of 21. What's the point? It's called point slope. What's the point? What comma what? 0, comma 5. Also known as, is that a y-intercept? Because s is 0, x is 0, yeah. The y-intercept is where x is 0. See, x is 0. So that's the y-intercept. Happens to also be the y-intercept. But the point, grab this, put it here. Grab this, put it here. There's your point. All right. So I know that you knew the first two forms. You've seen those a lot, but this third one, point slope, I don't think you dealt with it that much. Probably a little bit, but not much. Okay. Next part here is if you take this and I asked you to graph it, you would have to first solve this thing for y. Well, your first step would be to get rid of the 3x on both sides, and then you'd have -4y equals -3x plus 8. How do I get the y alone? You get rid of the -4. How do I get rid of the -4? Please don't say add 4. Divide by -4 all the way across. And if I divide by -4 all the way across, I end up, these cancel out like I wanted them to. Y is alone, just like I wanted. What's -3 divided by -4? 3/4. Y, and then this last thing, what's +8 divided by -4? -2. And so this is my graph that I'd have to graph. My little picture with the penguin has not got the correct graph. Let's get rid of that. And if I was going to graph this thing, the y-intercept is where you start. Y is -2. Start right there. And the slope is 3/4. That means rise 3 and run 4. Rise 3, run 4. Rise 3, run 4. And there, I did not make it straight, but there's roughly what your graph would look like. All right, I want you to take, not this one, there's a harder one in a second here I want you to try. Let me see here. I want you to solve this one. And graph it. Solve this, graph it. Just make a quick sketch of your graph. I'm going to hit pause on my recording while you are trying this. All right, so this next part, I want you to check with somebody on whether you did this right. So I'm going to tell you who to check with. These two rows, you're going to look on straight across and just see how, see if yours looks the same as theirs. You guys' rows aren't going to match up quite as nice, so I'm going to make it go like this. You two compare with him. You two compare with him, and then you compare with him. All right, and then you guys all have somebody across from each other on that side. So you guys compare with each other and see if you got the same answers. First step was divide by 3, then you got y equals 2/3 x minus 7. Raise your hand if you had that one right. Okay, good. And then the graph of it looks like this. The y is -7, not the x. A lot of people make the mistake and start over here at -7. No, that would be the x-intercept. The y-intercept is -7. So start down here. It has a slope of 2/3. You rise 2, go up 2, and then you run 3. So generally, it's not a very steep slope. Going up like that. Do you know what I would do if this said less than instead of equals? If it said less than, yes, the scribbling motion makes me think you want to shade, yes. And which way do you think I would shade if it says less than? Below it. You would shade below it. There's some of that on your test and on Friday, and then there's some of that on your worksheet today too, of course. All right, I was going to graph this one. I got to remember that x's are here and y's go up and down. So if it's y is -3, here's a spot where y is -3, and then you draw the line through it. The only other logical spot the kids goof up on is they put it this way, but that's where x is -3. So just try to keep those straight. If it's an x graph, they go up and down like this. It's kind of counterintuitive because the y-axis goes up and down like this too, right? But that's the y-axis. So if you're doing an x equals thing, it goes like the y-axis, which is kind of weird. The way I think of it is, if I'm going to graph y equals 5, or sorry, x equals 5, I go to one spot where x is 5. That spot right there, that's the spot where x is 5. And now it has to go through that. Now, so it either has to go up and down or it has to go left and right. And left, right through this would be like right on the axis, and that wouldn't make any sense. So it has to go up, down. All right. And what if I change this to less than -3? Shade above it or below it? Less than, shade below. What if I change this to greater than 5? How do I shade below or above that? You can't. So I go either left or right of it. So if x is bigger than 5, which way do you think I should go? To the right, like this. Okay, moving on. Big, scary-looking equations. No, I still solve them the same way. Act like it's equals. And solve that equation by start by multiplying this out, and then move this 2 over to the other side. You'll have y equals. Once you get y equals something, you can graph it. And then you're just going to say it wasn't really equals, it was really less than, so you're going to shade underneath it. Try that. Solve it for y, graph it, compare it with the kid sitting next to you that I showed you. Pause while you work on that for a second. All right, I'm back with you, and hopefully you started by going like this. Y minus 2 is less than 3x plus 3 times 4 makes 12. Just multiplying this and this out. Then I'm going to move that minus 2 to the other side and make it plus 2. So if I add 2 to both sides, that'll go here, and that'll make this 14. And then, wait a minute, how am I supposed to graph that? I have to go way up to 14, up about here. And then it has a slope of 3. So it should be a fairly steep line like this, and I'm shading. It's a less than. I shade underneath. Raise your hand if yours was in that area. Okay, awesome. So the last kind we have to talk about is when you have big, old, hairy, nasty equations. And that's where there's just a lot of steps, and you have one variable like x, and you want to solve it and get it alone. We got to do all these steps to get there, and I encourage you to just do one line at a time. You don't want to just try, guess, and check and like figure out that the answer is 6 or whatever. You want to take one little step at a time and go 3 times the x is 3x, 3 times the -2 is -6, and then this, keep on going. Okay, what do I do? There's a parenthesis. Do I even need that parenthesis? No, I do not. If there's nothing being multiplied by it, and there's nothing to do in it, I can just drop that parenthesis. Plus 3x minus 8. If there's nothing to do in it, like I can't add 3x and -8, that can't go together, and there's nothing being multiplied by it, there's no negative in front of it or anything, just drop the parentheses. All right, you take it from here, please, and solve that equation. Get x all the way by itself, alone. I'll wander around and see if anybody needs any help. Okay. That and that can go together. 6x. That and that can go together. Minus 14. All right. equals x minus 15. Now I got variables on both sides. How do you fix that? Subtract x would work. I get rid of the smaller one. And x is smaller than 6x, so I'm going to get rid of the x. 5x minus 14 equals negative 15. And then I'm going to get the x totally alone. I'm going to add 14 both sides. 5x equals, negative 15 plus negative 1. Raise your hand. Oh, wait, I'm not done yet. Sorry. And then I'm going to divide by 5. X equals negative 1/5. Raise your hand if you had that one right. Excellent. Okay. Don't expect all your numbers to come out to like 7. We're going to have fractions in here, a lot of them. All right. I don't think we need any more practice on that. I'd rather just get you launched on your homework, which is going to be problems like that. And I also would like to take some time to learn some of your names. So anyway, here comes your homework.